Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Welcome to my latest video tutorial on Minecraft. This is how to mass breed civilians. Now, there is some potential things that we need to do first. Now, one of those first things I would mention is finding a village very close by to where you intend to build. If you're intending to build anything that's using villages, I would recommend you having a village very close by. If you have a look in the background, just where my crosshairs are, there is a village there. There's also one just over here that me and my missus completely trashed, um, which is the one that we took all the villagers from and basically just obliterated it into nothing. I will link the seed map to the channel as well, so you're well aware of what seed I'm potentially using, and you'll be able to follow on from there if you go to the same coordinates that you can see in the video. This is the old village. I will show you how to, I'm obviously not going to be able to show you how to kidnap the civilians. It is very easy though. So you see all these little liney things here. What I do is I make wooden staircases. I then put the wooden staircases here, here and here, because it just gives me the ability of pulling the civilians up to the height that I wanted, which was 70 at the time. And if you make wooden stairs, it's just easier to pull them up that way. If you do like a hop and pull, so you just keep pressing the A button on the controller, which is the bottom button. I don't know whether you're using Xbox controller or PlayStation. But yeah, the easiest way, use leads in boats, kidnap 2 at a time. You can take 3 boats at a time, and you just literally move back and keep hopping backwards and forwards like so, and it just pulls them across. You do not need to use shovels. On the other hand, you do not need to have flattened grass like this whatsoever to pull them. You can pull them on grass, you can pull them on stone, it does not matter. But if you have them on this, you will not be able to take them to grass. Yeah? So unless you're hopping, hence the reason why I suggest hopping while pulling them, because they will just go where you want them to. When you've successfully captured X amount of civilians, you'll need then a place to breed them. You'll also need wool and wood, so I would suggest that you capture a few sheep, get yourself a pair of shears, which can be crafted with iron, and you can then basically just make a little tiny pen with wooden fences that you can go in and out of. Use a fence gate that you can then go in and out of, and you can pretty much keep that close by to where you intend to build your villages or breed your villagers. What you'll do is you'll just keep shearing the wool, make sure you've got plenty of wood, and then you can make beds very, very quickly. Now, I've built myself a little room, 3 blocks high, got iron doors. Now, the reason I use iron doors is because of the button feature, no pressure plates, because otherwise civilians can let themselves out. And all you want to do is you want to basically grab some buttons a second, just so I can get in and out. What you want to do, grab some buttons out of any sort of wood, craft yourself a couple of iron doors, and then just grab your beds. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay out as many beds as you can possibly gain. And then start placing them inside. Like so. Now you need to give them plenty of places to walk, so it's not like you can just place beds everywhere. You also want space for yourself to be able to put the villagers in boats. Now I would highly suggest that you get yourself a decent number of boats. I've used 12, specifically because I want to maximize how many I can transport at one particular time. And as you can see, I'm just laying down the beds, giving myself a 2-block gap in between. I can do. Just grab some more beds. Now you're probably wondering why I've kept the Ninwits. Well, I used the Ninwits for mass breeding. I found that they are not as bad as what everyone keeps making them out to be, and they're actually really good for breeding. That's why I have them actually inside my iron farm, because if I ever want to replace a civilian, I'll use those for rebreeding, and it's really good. So it means I can just get on and breed villagers, and they won't connect to any of my job site blocks that I have in my actual base, which is really handy. So yeah, that's why I use them. And if you're ever doing anything that consists of, you need to breed but without, you know, you get the picture. So all you do is just lay all your beds out like so, and then do the same thing again. You want to leave another 2-block gap. And I'm just going to prove my point here as well. I'm going to lay out 108 beds inside of here. That's how many. Bye. Right, now we've just got to wait until the morning. Let's grab some bread. Now, I have 800 bread here, and I will suggest that, again, use chunk base to go around to villages, and you want to try and gain as much food as possible using bundles. So you want leather and string to create a bundle, head to a village, and you can then use the bundle to put any goods inside of it. Job site blocks, wood, bed. You can't put beds inside, but you will. If you take the beds from the villages, you also want to be looking out for things like hay bales, any production of food whatsoever, bread, all that sort of stuff. Bring it back here. You also want to make yourself potentially a little farm that you can make grain in as well. I have a build for that I can show you at a later date, that I used to use for doing mass breeding with, but it's not really important. If you hit enough villages, you can come back with lots and lots of hay bales. If you then turn the hay bales into grain, you can then turn the grain into bread, and then if you have enough bread, you can then breed enough civilians. Now, I've only finally worked out what I actually need to get my 108 villages. And what you're looking for when you're breeding, we need 8 Ninwits, which are the green jacket dudes, and eventually we're going to put them in last in our build. We don't want to put them in first, we want to put them in last. So if you get more than 8 Ninwits, just kill them off, job done. And as for the rest of them, you just want to basically just chuck bread at them and they will breed. And when you have done the breeding and you've chucked all your bread on the floor and they're starting to breed, this is why I've got the ladders over here. I've put the ladders up because once I'm finished breeding, you'll just stay in this position here and you'll just stay close by, because it takes roughly 20 minutes for them to turn into adults. So you want to remain quite close for that to happen quickly, and then once they've turned into adults, you can then start adding them to your iron farm. The way to do that is, again, you're going to use dirt and wooden stairs. You're going to build a little staircase leading up to where that section there is in my crosshairs, preferably 3 blocks wide, and then you'll just build a barrier on each side so that they can't fall off the edges, and you'll just do the same thing as pulling them across the floor. So you'll jump and hop backwards, pulling them up the stairs, and once you've got them inside, you can then just put a barrier across the doorway, and then you can just add them to their irrelevant beds. Make sure you pull them across the hallway as well. I drag them halfway in, so it doesn't matter where I put the beds. But I normally take 12 beds, 12 villagers, take them up there during the day, lay the beds down, take the job site blocks, done. So I only do 12 at a time per night. Yes, okay, that might take you a little while to do, but it's well worth it in the long run. And I find that's probably about the easiest way of doing it. So if you've got a partner in crime like I do, she normally helps drag them in with me. She'll take 3 boats at a time, I'll take 3 boats at a time, and then I can normally get about 24 in a time. But there are other ways of getting them in. You can build a train track or whatever, but I just found that this is the easiest way. If you haven't got a lot of materials to go with. Coming up to daytime now. wake up. The only problem with Nimwits is they sleep longer. Wake up. Now, the easiest way of doing this is just chucking the bread on the floor. Once they wake up, of course. Nimwits are a bit lazier than other villagers, but they do have their advantages, so breeding is one of them. Any time today, guys. Just wake up. By the way, beds don't really matter what colour they are, as long as it's a bed, it's fine. So what you want to do, just chuck bread on the floor, like so, and they will get to work on making you a nice big fat crash. Aha, let's go. Got enough bread, just get on with it. Ah, see? And as soon as they've got hearts above their head, they've made a baby. Obviously, when you do this, you're going to have more civilians inside, so hopefully, with a bit of luck, you'll have more than just two. Instead of, like I've only got two left because the rest of them are already inside. But hopefully, with a bit of luck, obviously, you'll have more, which will be an advantage. Breed. Stop looking at me and breed. God. Proper donuts. What? Now, remember, normal villages, I will say, the village that we hit had 12 civilians inside. By the time we brought them back, obviously, we had a decent number of civilians to breed with, but obviously I've got 2, so it's going to take a little while longer to get up and running because. But hey ho, you get the idea. So you just lay your beds out. Once your beds are out, you'll just chuck all your bread at them, go out to different villages, bring all your bread back, and once that's done, you can mass breed. I would recommend making the place that you intend to breed 100 blocks away from where you intend to make your iron farm. I don't know whether mine is. I should imagine it is because it was 100 blocks away from my old farm that I made. So just gonna weigh this up a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. I've only done 2. Come on, breed. And what you're looking out for is just the little hearts above the head. I will say Ninwits are slightly slower at breeding, but once hopefully once these 2 turn into adults, they'll start breeding with the Ninwits and start repopulating a lot faster. Unfortunately, I only had 2 villages left in my map when I made the copy of my world, so it made things slightly more difficult to show you rather than showing you properly with 12 villages from an actual village. But you get the same result in the end. So it will be a case of the bread that I've already given to these 2 Ninwits will be split between these 2 as well. They'll just throw the bread at them and start breeding. So you need roughly, I believe, it's around 4 bread per baby each villager. So you need 10 points to make a baby, basically. 10 points of food for each villager will make 1 baby. Normal veggies are 1 and bread is 3. So I chuck 4 bread down and that does the job. So 4 bread each, 1 baby. So if you want 100 villagers, you'll need 800 bread. And as you can see now, it's speeding up a bit better. 3 babies, they're going for the 4th. And eventually this room will fill up with babies and you'll have a little crash, which is quite fun. Especially when you're sitting on the corner and you'll just see all the villagers looking up at you. They treat you like a damn god. But I think you get the picture. So what you need to do on top of this is head out to different types of villages. If you have a look on Chunkbase, it will give you, whatever seed you're using. What you've got to do is go into your map, and then I think you'll find, where is it? It's general. No, I can't remember where it is. Game. There you go, seed. So 300746916. I don't know what the simulating distance is for chunks. Okay. But I made a copy of my world so I could show you the breeding, because it's slightly easier rather than using my world to do it in, because I don't really want to waste the bread I've got. So that, and I don't want to waste the materials that I've been building up. So I came into this, I made a copy of my world, and just enabled the cheats just so I could show them. I used the command to get loads of bread and beds. So rather than using creative. It was just slightly easier than hunting for lots of stuff just so I could make a video. It's too much work when I've got my village to, or my castle to build. So far, day one, 5 babies. Not bad. You need to stay close by as well to the area so that when they do breed, you'll see what they're doing. And just to prove my point that I'm not cheating in my actual world, I'll show you. So in my realm, yeah, me and my missus play properly. It's just I don't have unlimited time in my day to go out and hunt more resources just to make one video. So but the beds are pretty easy to make. You just all I did was I made 2 sheep, 1 colour. Because my intention was to make it all 1 colour, which was yellow. So I made just yellow. I've just got 2 yellow sheep. So if you find a colour that you like, dye your sheep that colour. You turn the beds into that colour. Job done. Now you can see babies are in. So I have 8. And now on the 9th. And now they're not messing around. Oh, they're now going to bed. Typical. They've gone to bed. Well, in all fairness, you have made 9 babies in one day. As for the rest of the build, I've got loads of new different types of builds to bring you as well. So, yeah, like auto farms. So eventually I'll be showing you how to set them up as well. And I'll probably show you the rest of my build at some point when we finally get to fixing it. I made it slightly too high, and me and my missus are now actually bringing it down to the level we actually want it. We've got a pen set up for all of our animals that we got, nameplates and stuff for them so they don't disappear. Lots of different animals that we intend to put somewhere else. got our portal to the Nether. So ugh. So what you need to do, head to villages, use chunk base to find out where your closest villages are, hit them, make sure you take a few bundles so you can bundle up all the veggies and stuff and bring them back. I'd only recommend to use grain because you can turn grain into bread, which will make it slightly easier. And then the rest of it you can use for then repopulate, well, growing food. But to be fair, if you've got potatoes and carrots are the one thing that you're going to keep and need to keep so you can make more of them. So if you've got beetroot, you can use beetroot as well because beetroot grows from a seed, but so does wheat, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, but they'll only, I believe, take bread, beetroot, carrot and potato anyway, so beetroot and bread is the best bet. And here is, I'll tell you what, this location where we are, there's 5 villages that way, there's a village that way, there's another village over there, and if you look in the distance, there's a tower and a village, and there's a village over here somewhere, and there's a village over there. So there's plenty, and I mean plenty of villages. And before we even came here, we hit 3 villages on, oh no, 4 villages on the way before we even got to here. We then made a temporary little base. We've got, didn't we record from the beginning? I swear we recorded from the beginning. We've got a live stream of how we done all this anyway. Yeah. We made a survival series that we end up forgetting about halfway through. So you can always watch that from my live streams that I've done where we found the location that we liked and how we did it. So, you know, just select a map, duplicate it, make it survival, and then find yourself a place that you intend to build. Head there in your normal game, find villages. We're in an ideal place, so we're close by to villages. In that direction we've got a swamp, over there. We're in quite a prime area, so we can set up, and there's lots of different things here as well. And I'll tell you what, the portal to the Nether here is absolutely amazing. It's so close to bastions that it's like 1100 blocks away. So you can get your netherite upgrades and bits and pieces, and you can, you know, etc, etc. And you've got so many villages around that it's easy to just head to them and take as much as you want. You need villages anyway to make something like this because you'll need just job site blocks. So it's don't get me wrong, you can make them yourself, but there's some job site blocks that you're going to struggle to make unless you're in or up to the edge of like brewing stands and stuff like that. You need to be in the Nether to get them. So hit villages with castles. There's 3 of them that way. In fact, there's 5 villages that way that have got castles in them, or chapels, or whichever way you want to look at it. But I know this map like the back of my hand, and I know a few good areas where you can build on. It's not bad for mining. There's a mine shaft literally underneath it. So yeah, literally what you're going to do, chuck bread, they'll breed. Once they start breeding, just stay here. It'll take a couple of days to breed them, and then you just start taking them in. And if you want to make this thing the way I have done, you can just make it smaller, or you can start off small so you can start getting iron, so you can then get iron tools at least, so that you can then make your life a little bit easier to get all the resources that you need. And as for this thing here, I didn't record it in my last video because I was stupid enough to not do it. But all you do is when you get to inside and you want to make an exit, just chuck a piece of gravel out the window, and then, or out the hole, wait until it hits the floor, and then you'll have to somehow get down to the bottom, and then all you do is you put whatever block that you're using to build it with behind it in like an E shape, almost like a C shape, sorry, and then put ladders all the way up the top. And then you can do that on both sides, and it gives you the chance to get in and out. And as you can see, it does make iron. There's quite a fair bit inside. And if you ever want more of it, you just, you know, if you're eating dinner, AFK, and yeah, you'll see that you'll get iron. I mean, there's quite a fair bit in there already at the moment, and I've barely been near it. So, but that's how you breed. If you get stuck, give me a shout. I'm quite happy to help out where I can. If you want to use the same seed, feel free to drop me a message. I'll give you the seed number. It'll be attached to the video anyway. This is pretty good location, to be fair. I wouldn't suggest building this high. If you like wood, I wouldn't suggest building here, because there's barely any of it. There's no trees, which is why we built here, so we don't have to chop down loads of trees. If you want trees, they're over there. And obviously you've got loads over there and bits and pieces, but this is a really good map. And the starting place for it's not that far away, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's a good little location. So eventually this will be a breeding ground for turtles and stuff. So we'll be having turtles. This will be full of trees where we can get apples and have bees and bits and pieces. So yeah, there's been a lot of planning for this build. We're just building it now. None of it's done in creative, it's all been done properly. So we farmed for all the goods to do with this place. We just built it slightly too high, and now we're taking it down to a decent level. We'll even show you the storage room that we've got on the go, which is our mass storage, which I'm quite happy to show you a video of that at some point. Yeah. There'll be 9 of these altogether, each side. So there's 9 of these shelves systems either side. We've just got to dig it out on that side. It's basically 18 of these boxes long, and it's 3 blocks wide, and then another 4, 3, and then that one will be where you put them all. And then we've got our farm for lava doorway, so we can get into our mine shaft. Like I said, everything's been moved down, so we were a couple of blocks higher than that, but hence why that area up there is slightly higher. But we've decided to move it all down, make our house a bit bigger or a bit wider. So yeah, it's coming together quite well. But I'm going to dash off, make dinner, but I will see you in my next video. If you get stuck with anything, give me a shout. I'm quite happy to help out. Like I said, just hit villages, get lots and lots of grain and bread. And if you do need to make a little farm, the easiest way of doing that is grab yourself some land and a hoe and just a couple of buckets. Just surround it with water. What I normally do is I'll have 2 lanes. So if you get like 2 lanes of grass, and then the 3rd lane you'll put water in it, and then the lane after that will be stone, so you've got a walkway, and then 2 after that, and then you can fill that all in with grain and then chop it down. Job done. Or you can build one of these, which is what I've done. You'll need pistons for them and redstone. They're quite good. Just put buckets in the observers, I think they are, or hoppers or whatever you call them. I can't remember what they call them now. These things. Dispenser, that's it. The only problem I've found is when you try and go down, you end up turning these into normal blocks, but if you've got a hoe, just rehoe it. The next one will be slightly better because it will actually have a walkway, so I can get to the back without actually interfering with the front. So without turning over the dirt. You can make these pretty easy, so just a button system and just press it and it'll do its work. Again, I'll show you that at a later date, how to do. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to dash off and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao guys.